Happy post Halloween, Andy. Happy November 1st. I guess
Yeah.
All Saints Day today, I think, is the proper name for it. What'd you dress up as last night, Andy?
I was a middle-aged man in short shorts and a Detroit Lions t-shirt. Call me crazy. Were you dressed up for the festivities, Dave?
I was not, but I was handing out a lot of candy. Andy, I think I have to correct the record from our podcast on Wednesday.
Okay, all right.
When we were talking about you working out when kids were coming up, and I was like, don't fall over and show your balls or anything. We had used Old Man Balls, which is a Adam Sandler movie, correct, but it was the
Yeah,
wrong Adam Sandler movie. That was Big Daddy
that's right.
because of the Old Man Balls. But what I was referring to is when they did the academic decathlon or whatever it was at the end with one of the best lines ever about everyone in this world is now dumber for having heard it.
Yeah.
They pushed after the track meet, they pushed the Bradley Whitford over and they're like, "Oh, I can see his balls" or something. So that's what I was referring to at that point. So Andy,
So I I, I,
that's
I didn't get the full context of the reference, but if I recall, we discussed I think both of those movies at length in one of our early episodes when we did our Adam Sandler
good.
top five. So that's a hard top five. I could change that every time I do it probably, but it's
But you could never move Adams like Billy Madison out of that
yeah,
one. Like
yeah,
Billy Madison is it has to be in any Adam Sandler top five or
yeah,
whatever.
and Happy Gilmore. I mean,
Oh, of course.
quintessential Adam Sandler.
Where are you at on? They're making a Happy Gilmore too. Where are you at on that?
I heard that. I haven't followed it along. I'm trying to think. There was something else that I saw. There was a sequel. There was clearly just a money like grab, and it wasn't a good
Yeah.
movie. And so I hope it's not that because I mean, Happy Gilmore was great. I'm not sure what the sequel would be, but it's got to be fun and stupid. And I hope they keep it there.
It was so good. It was
So
so
good.
good.
So good.
So
Chubb.
okay, Andy, nothing like ball talk to start off on Friday. But we had a fun Halloween. We mowed through the candy. We had more kids, I think, than last year, and my planning of getting a bag of candy each week was we were done by like 7:30. We were almost out. It
Wow.
was so.
How do you guys handle that at the Pounder household, Dave? Does one parent stay and be the candy giver, and one goes and does a trick or treating, or do you break it up by times and shifts? Or
We do shifts anyways. So like Anne will take out our littlest one for the first part, then she'll man the front door. Actually, it's kind of nice because the weather's so nice here. We just kind of sit on the front porch or sit on the
yeah,
steps when the kids come up. It's just lovely out. But that's yeah, we broke it up. So I had the long list. So Andy, here's a fun one. We heard as we were going through, everyone was talking about the chainsaw house. And we're like, where's the chainsaw house? So we're like, okay. So we heard it was in this general direction. So we start moving down that way.
yeah.
And then you start hearing the chainsaw in the background. You're like, what the hell is this? And all kids screaming. And you're like, what is going on? And so my daughter, she likes to think that she's really tough, and she is. But she's also a big chicken. But she's like, oh, we want to go to the chainsaw house. We want to see it. So we get up there, and it's this tent on a driveway.
Yeah,
There's like a little like strings hanging down from it. It's just like you go through the tent. It's one of those pop-up tents, those 10
yeah.
foot. You go through the tent, and there's the chainsaw guy at the end somewhere pops out. And they were like, I was like, well, I'll come through with you, and we'll go through this. And so her and her friend are like clutching my hands, and we don't even. I think we made it inside the tent, and they saw like a remnants of of a Michael Myers
Yeah, yeah.
with a chainsaw, and they heard it, and they just were like they went running. It was kind of fun. So those are always fun.
That is fun. Even when you know it's not real, to be able to like be that shook up by it, I think that's fun. I mean, anybody can do that, but especially with little kids, that can be pretty exciting.
Yeah, and it's always fun to come home then and like count your inventory of
Oh yeah, totally.
So
Trade. You got trade.
yeah. Somebody gave a peanut butter and jelly like uncrustable. What is that? Um like
Maybe they ran out of candy. Maybe they got desperate and they were like, "Oh, I got to give them something."
I guess. I mean, it is what it is. Okay, Andy, let's get into our segments. We've gone pretty far along. That was a segment almost in
It
itself,
was.
Andy.
It was.
But let's go in. So we'll see how we go through today. Andy, let's talk a little sports. A lot of things happen The Jets, the Jets,
Yeah,
Jets won last night
yeah.
amazingly. If you watch the first half of the game like I did, the Jets were awful. They looked awful. Unfortunately, Houston is like they have no wide receivers, and so they basically were running the ball, and it petered out in the second half. But I don't take much away from Thursday night games. They're just it's like a crapshoot.
Yeah.
Uh, but the Jets do pull that one out. Any lingering thoughts from that, or looking ahead for your Lions this week? Big week.
No, I mean for the Thursday night game, not really a big game. The Texans are a hard one to figure out. Like it's hard to figure out if they're good
Yeah.
or not. They're all kind of all over the place. The Jets we know aren't good, and Aaron Rodgers had like an abysmal first half. Like I saw stats like it was like absolute garbage. But I mean the Jets are going to win some games, but we know the Jets actually suck, and so and as far as the Lions, I mean look, game of the week, maybe game of the season. I mean Lions Packers is going to be a really big game. Should be a really good game, and Tom Brady's going to be out there making the call. Sunday afternoon, 4:30, America's Game of the Week, starring America's team. So I'm super excited, looking forward to it. And like every week in the NFL, there's going to be a wild week of football. But no, I'll leave it for Monday for us to come back and celebrate the wins and losses, the smiles and tears.
Yeah, nope, that makes a lot of sense, Andy. So we'll see how it goes this weekend. I don't even know who the Cow. Oh, who are the Cowboys? Who cares? That's not important. So, Andy, let's talk a couple other sports events. World Series wrapped up this week.
Yeah,
Yankees lost to the Dodgers. Um, you know, I didn't think this was a particularly great Yankees team. I think if the Orioles, as bad as they were playing, played the Yankees, they would have beaten them in the playoffs. But yet they made it to the World Series. Good for them. First time in 15 years. They still lost. I mean, it's the second highest payroll behind the Dodgers, the highest payroll.
yeah.
Um, I was kind of rooting for the Dodgers, but I really didn't care either way. I'm mostly rooting for the Dodgers because Mookie Betts is on that team, and he used to play for the Red Sox, and I fucking hate the Red Sox. So like I just like knowing that a player that the Red Sox didn't pay and gave away for basically nothing is doing so well. This is like a Hall of Fame player, and he's tearing it up for the Dodgers. So
Yeah.
I know you don't care too much for the baseball, but the season's up. Free agency is going to go. Any thought on baseball, Andy?
I mean, the Dodgers are, they're one of the powerhouse teams that everybody knows if you don't know the sport, and so kind of cool to see them. I know they went big on bringing a team together to win, and they did it. Good for them. Don't personally care because I didn't watch a single baseball game all season, didn't watch a single inning, but it's still pretty exciting.
So where are you at on teams like you get this like teams buying team? Like here's what I like about the Dodgers. One is they spend money. That's good.
Yeah.
Two, two they develop their own players too, which is something some play teams do not do. I'm kind of envious of that. We like people give like, well, that's the best team money can buy. I mean, I think if your team spent money, it would be you'd be pretty happy with that too. I don't.
Yeah, I mean, look, fans want you to win, right? So you want to spend money to bring in the right talent to win games, but there's something to how you do it, right? I felt like when in football when the Rams and the Bucks just paid money to bring in talent, basically just to have a one winning season, paid a lot of money. They were able to do it, which I think is credit to the coach that they were able to bring in those big players and names and get a winning season. But it's not like it's not as fun. Like I mean, like I go back to what Detroit's been doing the last few years, big trades, draft picks, building the team, some local players. Like it's fun to watch that growth and evolution and seeing where they're going. And you see other clubs doing similar things, but it's fun to see it come together and they can really look like this is a team. That the players are invested, the GM, the coaches, like everybody's put their contribution to make this work. It's not just we brought in the six highest paid players to have the dream team to make a win, to make a run and win a championship. So it's fun to see, but at the end of the day, everybody wants their team to win, and nobody's crying when the Bucks bring in Tom Brady and win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Okay, Andy, one more sports topic for us this morning. This is like the 50th anniversary of the Thrilla in Manila,
Oh
Andy.
yeah,
I
yeah,
think what it is, isn't it? Thrilla in Manila?
yeah,
Yeah. And so, or the Rumble in the Jungle. Sorry, no, this is Foreman. Um,
yeah. Thriller Manila was 75.
yeah, so this is Ali Foreman. So this is Rumble in the Jungle, one of the iconic matches. You have a young George Foreman. Everyone thinks of George Foreman as the George Foreman grill these days, Andy, but in fact he was a great boxer
Yeah,
for a very long time, and he was the up and comer against an aging Muhammad Ali, which at 32 years old, if you're really aging at that point, but he was, and also is having some effects of all those headshots and everything that would ultimately lead to some of his health issues.
yeah.
But where are you at? Boxing's been since those early days of our youth, in like the early 80s, where you had, you know, God, Sugar, what was it?
Sugar Ray.
Ray
Yeah,
Leonard. I'm trying
yeah,
to, I couldn't think of, and Hagler. You had all these
yeah.
great
Great
iconic
match.
matches, and you had the early Mike Tyson. Andy, I don't know if you remember our college days where Mike Tyson got out of jail and we would
Yeah,
watch the boxing matches with Tyson and Holyfield and the ear bite and everything.
the best.
Where you at? Boxing's been on a steady decline, especially with the rise of MMA.
Yeah.
There's some good boxers out there. Do you watch much?
So I don't watch a lot, but I'll watch it if it's on and I can see. Because I think boxing's still fun. I mean, I always get torn because I feel like it's so brutal. Those guys are getting
Yeah.
killed in there. So it's like I don't want to encourage it, but it's at the same time like it is really fun. And I know MMA is big, but I feel like the turnover there is so fast. Like except for every now and again, you'll get a personality that sort of people get excited about, right? But for the most part, I feel like those fighters come up and go pretty quickly. Whereas in boxing, you had these like titans that just dominated their weight classes, and it was so fun to see these big marquee matchups. Over the years, you said, Sugar Ray, Marvelous Marvin Hagler, Holyfield, Tyson, amongst the best fights of all time. And like every Tyson fight was just a massive event. I still remember waking up and reading the Washington Post and reading that Buster Douglas knocked out Mike Tyson in Japan. It was like a shock. So I mean, boxing was great growing up, and I think it's still
Yeah.
a super sport. But yeah, it's not as big as it used to be. But we do have Mike Tyson, Jake Paul coming up here in 2 weeks.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be exciting. Mike Tyson, was he like 55? He's in his mid 50s.
He's
I
up
mean,
there. He still looks
yeah,
good, man. He still looks
yeah,
good.
he does. I mean, it'd be interesting to see him against Jake Paul. Jake Paul, like obviously the YouTuber gets a lot of money from a lot of this stuff. But
Yeah.
okay, all right. Fun little sports talk. We didn't hit on Bronny James getting his first points. I don't know if we really care at this point, but that was there as well, Andy. So, all right, Andy, let's turn to politics. A little bit on politics. Where last weekend everybody's there. I've got my ads that Donald Trump is going to be in nearby here. With a rally, everybody's fighting over North Carolina and the
Yeah.
seven battleground states. Andy, it's very close. Early voting continues. We've seen a lot of kind of like these reports, ballots dropped off. We're already seeing Andy the false claims coming out about ballot fraud and
Yep.
voter registration fraud. Trump is even, you can already see it in his post, Andy. You posted on your Threads account in the last day or two about Trump already seeding, the seed, well, planting the seeds
Yeah.
of conspiracy already, Andy. We're the election's on Tuesday. We're a long way away from having anything resolved, Andy.
Yeah. I mean, it's not just Trump. I mean, I have to because I do, right, for work. I have to check in on X. I pop in literally for 30 seconds a day just to grab a couple quick things, part of my routine work functions. Dave, I was on there for those 30 seconds. I think it was yesterday, the day before. And I look, I see the trending. As you click on trending, you just get a grip of what's happening there. First thing with like thousands of comments, retweets, some random woman, I don't know who she was, questioning why is this guy pulling up to the ballot drop off in this truck from out of state? What's going on here? Like it's constant and it's already happening across the country, especially focusing on the battleground states. Like that the groundwork is being laid to contest the election in the sense that it was stolen. Like it's already happening, right? And it's just infuriating because we all know we have to endure this, unless Donald Trump is a winner. And like Donald Trump said, if he wins, the elections were free and fair, and if he loses, it was rigged. And so like he very well might win this election, but if he doesn't, we're going to be hearing the same thing over again. Like America's so tired, Dave. America, whether you support Mr. Trump or you support Ms. Harris, like we're just all so tired of this election. We're so tired of the lies and the arguments. Like it's just going to be exhausting. So, we're just hold on, Dave. We got a few more days to go, and hopefully one of those two candidates shocks the world and wins in a landslide, so we can just move forward.
Yeah, agreed, Andy. Interesting when you talk about like still like the false claims and the lies. Fox News had Andy, obviously they are lean one certain direction despite their approach for being fair and balanced is I
Yeah,
don't think they use that moniker as much anymore, but they recently came out after Trump had talked about the stolen election and actually refuted it and on the air and said despite the claims that Mr. Trump is making, Joe Biden won the presidency. It was certified by Congress, and that's a pretty big stake. Now, it comes at a great cost to Fox News because if you'll remember, they
yeah,
helped promote a lot of the stuff from the 2020 election, and they were actually held accountable in a court of law to pay retribution for some of the voting systems. They're still in litigation on others. So this is at least somewhat encouraging that some of the news networks, even ones that are maybe favor one candidate over the other, are calling some of this out, but it's going to take a lot, Andy, because it's not so much the news networks as it is, Jim and Bobby and Sue and whoever in the background on X, with the grainy photo or with the one incident that they saw from or heard from a friend of a friend, that's going to cause the most trouble, probably, Andy.
yeah, yeah. And there's so many things that could happen here. Like I was saying, with the Fox point is notable, right? I mean, they did lose their lawsuit. They have to be a little bit more straightforward here. Interesting to see. But you talk about the candidates and who's going to win. I mean, there's a poll or a story article, sorry. I think it was yesterday maybe in 530 talking about the fact that like all these candidates could still win in a blowout, right?
Yeah.
Because the polling's so close. Like if everything just tilts a little bit one way or the other, like which is very possible because they're all in the margin of error. Like it could be a massive blowout for one of these candidates, which would be great. Like it would be great. So I don't know, Dave. I think as soon as I start talking about election, I think my brain gets fuzzy at this point because we're talking about it every single day. Like, how exhausted are you of this election?
Yeah, I will say I'm done with it. I mean, I've been done with it for a long time, but I don't like watch as much of the news anymore.
Yeah,
And I think that's I mean, I have my trusted sources, the ones that
yeah,
I like to go to. And I get the quick headlines to see if there's anything I need to dig deeper into, but anything election related just puts me over the edge and I'll just really I mean, because it's panic mode for all of these
yeah,
groups now. I mean, you hear the Harris campaign is panicking with certain voters. You have Joe Biden come out and say Trump voters are garbage, and then you get stories about how the Biden administration what we're trying to change the script of that what that said and everything. It just like it's exhausting. I think that's a fair point. So I get like, and I see Trump is in Gastonia this weekend, and get your tickets and all this stuff. I'm just ready for it to be done. I'm ready for the
yeah,
yard signs to be over.
yeah,
I'm ready for all of the ads to be done. I couldn't literally. I was in Des Moines, Iowa last week, and even there, Andy. I mean, the commercial breaks. It was one after the other. It was
yeah,
five straight, six straight. It wasn't even close. Like this is who you're voting for. This is who you need to vote for. This is how these people are scary. They support these evil cults and stuff like that. It does get exhausting for sure, Andy. So
yeah. Well, I want to get off of this one, but just do you see is something going to make the difference, Dave? Is some group, some issue, is something going to make that give the win to one of these candidates or the other?
I don't think so. I know everyone's trying to make a lot. I mean, they're making a lot out of the Puerto Rico is an island of garbage statement. I
Yeah,
think that was the most recent one, Andy. I don't know if there really is one here. I think we are pretty well set on our ways. I just keep going back to the point. If you're an independent voter, have you really not decided at this point? Are you waiting at this? Is there anything you're waiting on at this point in time that you would need to see? Is there anything Trump like this? is there anything that's going to be told about Trump that wouldn't surprise you, or about Harris that would surprise? I mean, so that you're like, oh, that's it. I can't vote for that candidate anymore. I just don't see that.
Well, when we did see, I mean, to a certain extent, we did see, after the Puerto Rico comment, some folks that had been leaning Trump or even supported Trump, been on stage with Trump, come back and sort of pull endorsements, tell people to vote a different way. I mean, I think that was interesting because that could potentially affect a few voters in critical states. And then Arnold Schwarzenegger, Dave,
Yeah, he did.
right, like I think some of those could influence people that maybe were like I think some people are wrestling, which is interesting. Like you wouldn't think people are, but I think there are some people that are genuinely like still trying to figure out, which button am I going to push? It's interesting, and to those folks that are stressing, I hope you can make a decision. Whatever you decide, I hope you can make a decision because America's counting on you all to help give one of these candidates or the other a clear win.
Yeah, I mean, look, if you have Trump, you have 4 years of just it's going to be every day. It's going to be like it's going to be exhausted. Just remember, just if you have any challenges, go back to 2020. I know we had COVID and everything's going on, but it was chaos in this country. Like every day was something different. Every day was we're going to inject bleach in our veins type of stuff.
Yeah,
And that's what you'll get with 4 years of Trump. Now, will some of his policies work? Of course, yeah. Look, every president has some wins here and there. And then with Harris, you're betting on, hey, it was bad coming out of COVID, and they tried to right the economy, right a lot of things. Um, do we trust her to lead where I already saw 4 years? I can't answer that for you individually. I can tell you how I voted,
yeah,
uh, but at the same time, is that's the argument there. So, and endorsements, it's good to see those individuals coming out. It just like, do you have to wait this long? I mean, is there anything that really couldn't have come out earlier? I don't know. So,
yeah, yeah. It's
but
interesting to see, but eventually we'll be done, Dave. Eventually we'll be done.
yeah. Andy, we're going to just stay here for just a couple more minutes, but
Okay.
there's an interesting part because you brought up about polling, and you can't
Yeah,
really polling data is tough. And again, so it's just you have to understand what the poll was done, the population of the poll was, and how that was, where it was done, how it was it done face to face, was it done over the phone, yada yada yada. It's tough because also it's just what somebody tells you. It's
yeah,
not necessarily truth, right? So you could say, like, you could be a supporter of one candidate or the other. You're not happy about it. You feel maybe slightly, you know, like, I don't know, what is somebody going to think if I say this? So you may say something different than what
yeah,
you actually did in the box. So it's hard there. There was you forwarded me something about one of the Google searches being let me pull it up, but one of the Google searches being, how do I can my husband know who I voted for,
yeah,
or that type of thing. And I think this is something that's been struggling in a lot of respects, is even married couples, or spouses or significant others or people in a relationship are, you know one is going to vote for one way and the other is going to vote another way, and you need to share that along, I guess. So I don't know, any thoughts there, Andy?
yeah. I mean, I think it's interesting, So I think you kind of go back to what I was asking you in a sense of it. Like, I think women are going to be the deciding factor in this election. I think how women vote will be a deciding factor, and I think young women especially, who seem to be leaning towards Kamala Harris for the most part, I think will be a deciding factor in this election. I think they're going to vote. I think women are probably more reliable, like actual voters, than some of their male counterparts, and I think they will vote. And I think they're going to be the tiebreaker in this, to be honest. But as I saw this, right? So Alex Stamos posted this yesterday, and so you start typing in "Can my husband?" and the Google prompts like what to finish your thought for you among the top 10 there, can my husband see my vote and see how I voted? So one, it's like it's kind of a concerning thing, right? Like
Yeah.
women feel like they have to like hide their vote from their spouse, right? Because it doesn't come up when you search "Can my wife?" So it's kind of sad and scary in that sense. But two, like how many people are lying to pollsters, friends, and neighbors in this election? It's so divisive. Like, and people don't want to rock the boat because people are so tired of arguing about it. I mean, people have lost friendships and loved, relationships and family, like because of the fucking politics, right? So people don't want to do that. And so how many people are just saying, yeah, I'm voting Harris. Yeah, I'm voting Trump. Let me go along to get along kind of thing, or get along to go along. Um, but they really are going to do something else. Some of them might be apathetic and not even vote, but some might go and vote. And I think it would be interesting if a lot of the voters for either candidate that are like believed to be breaking that way, like in their hearts and what they really think is best for America, are going to go vote for another candidate. And again, like we could see electorally a big win from one or the other with just a minor tweak in who votes how. And again, to me, and one of the reasons why I think Kamala Harris will win, because I think that at the end of the day, I think American women will come out to support her, not just because they're women, but I think they're more comfortable with her policies, her politics, and not as enthralled by Donald Trump. And I think we're going to see women break to Kamala Harris, and I think she's going to win because of that.
Yeah. I mean, personally, I hope that's the case. So we'll see how that all plays out. Andy, I'll be fully transparent. 2016, I did vote for Donald Trump. I mean, I thought that he was going to bring something different to politics and to DC.
Oh, he did.
Yeah, he definitely did. And I think we have 8 years now of a history that shows that he's bringing divisiveness, conflict, and hate. I think in a lot of respects, hate on a
Yeah,
lot of this. That I don't know I just don't understand what more anybody else would need to see at this point. And you talk about whether this could be a landslide or not. Like, how is it not? Like, what is that going to offer you on the one side? And
yeah,
so that's just where I struggle. I think it'll be this period of American politics will be dissected for decades to come. It will be a fascinating case study in voting trends and all that other stuff. So.
yeah.
Hey, Andy, we had a slam packed episode, pod today, Andy. So,
Oh, a
um,
lot, a lot.
and anything you're looking forward to in the weekend, Andy?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to some football, Dave. I'm looking forward to some good workouts. It's warmer here in Virginia. I'm looking to get a good. I haven't been able to get a good long like run or ruck in a couple weeks. I'm hoping to bang one of those out this weekend. Trying to get all my chores finished. Trying to get all my work finished. And like 4:30 Eastern time, Sunday afternoon, wherever you are, if you sit quietly for a minute, you're gonna hear me screaming my head off, yelling at the Green Bay Packers. And like I say, I don't hate the Packers anymore. There's a time I hated them. I loathed them. Like I enjoy this team. I'm happy to see them do well. I can't wait to see the Lions smash them in the mouth, wearing one of my two new Lions hats, Dave. So I'm very excited. I'm very excited.
I will be in front of the TV at noon on Saturday to watch Penn State play Ohio State
Yeah,
and hope that my team, the promise and potential that this team has shown so far this year, comes through and doesn't let me down. But I guess that's where I'm at as a sports fan. I'm hoping not to be let down. So.
it's a good Jack Johnson song. Don't let me down. Anyway, you don't want to hear me sing this morning, Dave. But
No, not particularly.
well, good
So
good luck to your Nittany Lions. I'll be cheering for my Detroit Lions. May they both be victorious.
may we both have good Lion victories this
That's right.
weekend.
That's right.
So, all right, Andy, with that, I will catch up with you on Monday.